If you think speedcubing is just about the Rubik's Cube, well, I'm just gonna say you're missing out on basically 99% of what speedcubing actually is. You're barely looking at the tip of the iceberg. I mean it.
You see, there's about 17 official events, thousands of competitions that happen every single year, cubes that feel pretty much nothing like the original Rubik's Cube does, and one of the most welcoming communities that you will find. So speedcubing has a lot more to offer you than just the 3x3. So what's the problem then? Well, most beginners do not know where to start. You see, they're constantly plagued by questions like, should I be attending competitions? Can I attend competitions? Where do I find these? Should I buy myself a GAN cube? Should I go and learn all of the OLL algorithms? Like, what should I do? And to be fair, all these questions are so valid because if I were in your shoes, I'd have all of these same questions. So today, I'm going to be putting myself in the shoes of a beginner and I'm going to be walking you through exactly how I would approach learning speedcubing from scratch. Now, just to clear up, this is not going to be like a cube tutorial kind of video. I mean, naturally, this is more of a guide for how you can get into cubing as a beginner. So if you're not a beginner, I don't really know how to sell this video to you, but you can share it with your friends who are really interested to get into cubing and I'm sure it'll be helpful to them. And hopefully by the end of this video, you won't just be seeing cubing as like the 3x3, just a Rubik's Cube. You will see it as an entire community of people that you can be a part of. You can go to competitions, you can practice so many other events, and I will show you exactly how you should be approaching this. So let's start off by understanding what speedcubing really is. Speedcubing is the art of solving twisty puzzles as efficiently as you can, plain and simple. What is a twisty puzzle? Well, a twisty puzzle is a puzzle with twisting or moving layers, like the 3x3, the 2x2, etc. And in fact, the list of twisty puzzles is pretty, extensive. There's a lot of different kinds of twisty puzzles, but the ones that we'll be focusing on are the main ones covered by the World Cube Association. What is the WCA? So the WCA is the official body. It is a not-for-profit organization that governs all the competitions that are organized around the world. So of course, their main goal is to promote speedcubing as much as they can. And they have been kind of the, regulatory organization for speedcubing. Now, the WCA recognizes 17 official events, and we shall see what these events are now. This is the World Cube Association page, and I'm just on one of their rankings lists. So you can see we have 3x3, which is the standard Rubik's Cube. We have 2x2. We have 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, and 7x7. These are the n by n's, so these are basically all the cube-shaped puzzles. Now, apart from this, you have a lot more. So first off, there's the 3x3 variant. So we have 3x3 blindfolded, we have 3x3 fewest moves, we have 3x3 one-handed, and 3x3 multi-blind. Yeah, multi-blind basically means you memorize a bunch of cubes and then you go and solve all of them blindfolded without looking. Apart from that, we also have clock, we have megaminx, we have pyraminx, we have scube, we have square one. Now, I know this is really overwhelming and there's a lot of events here, but the whole point of this video is do not get overwhelmed. In fact, you can be good at any of these events literally based on your will. But more often than not, you will be starting with the 3x3, which is just the standard Rubik's Cube. It's the most basic puzzle out there. So the Rubik's Cube has been around for a really long time. Until date, I get a lot of questions about what should my first Rubik's Cube be. Should I get a Speedcube? Should I get a Rubik's brand? Because Rubik's is a pretty trusted brand. Being very honest, if you're looking to get into speedcubing, you need to look at speedcubing brands such as Moyu, Chi, GAN. I'm not sponsored by any brands. Of course, I'm open to it. But you need to look at brands like this, which are more oriented towards speedcubing. And one good place, if you're in the Indian subcontinent, one good store you could check out is Cubelelo. Now, I am sponsored by Cubelelo, but in general, I have always stood by them and they are a really good cube store. And they showcase a really large variety of any kind of cubes. You can shop by a type of puzzle, 2, 3, 4, pyramids, big cubes, other puzzles, etc. They have accessories, they have apparel, they have, gift ideas. They have even a course platform where you can learn cubing. They have, competitions that they sponsor. Yeah, the first thing you want to do is get yourself a good Speedcube. Now, I don't mean you need to spend exorbitant amounts of money. In fact, you can have a varying range of budgets. So you can start off with something as simple as, let's say, this Drift 3M Plus, or even the Moyu RS3M V5. In fact, I main one of the variants of the RS3M V5. I have the Maglev ball core UV. Now, that's a very complicated thing to say. You can just get the standard magnetic version. It's not that expensive if you're looking to get into speedcubing and invest time and effort into this. There's a lot of options. If you want to go for something more high-end, you can get a GAN cube. But in general, this is where you want to get your cubes if you're in the Indian subcontinent. If you're abroad, you can look at stores like the Cubicle or Speedcube Shop. These stores are really good, and naturally they also have a really extensive collection that they offer. So that being said, you want to get a magnetic cube because that is literally how we do it these days. You do not want to start with anything less than that because now they're so accessible, they're so readily available, you should absolutely get them. Set a budget and then look for cubes within that range. Also, you can use the coupon code SPACETIME at checkout on Cubelelo to get 5% off your order, just saying. And just remember, you do not need a really good cube to be fast. In fact, some of the fastest cubers I know use fairly standard cubes that are not over the top expensive. So now that you have your first 3x3, what comes next? Well, initially your solves might look a little bit like this. And then over time, they would start to look a little bit like this. And then eventually you'll be solving pretty much like this. The point is, when you're starting off learning, if you really want to go and invent your own method, you are absolutely welcome to, and that would be a really commendable thing to do. But if you're looking to get into speedcubing, it's worth learning at least the beginner's method and get an intuition for how the cube works. So in general, the cube is solved layer by layer, and I'm talking about the 3x3 cube here. In fact, you can check out my YouTube playlist where I teach the layer by layer method, and I teach a variant that's pretty nice and pretty easy to, follow through with. So go check that out up here if you can. But before you go there, remember that getting an intuition and understanding how the cube works, how the pieces work, and the whole dynamics of the puzzle is really important and way more important than memorizing stuff. So when you start off by learning this method, you will take a few minutes. In fact, be ready to even take tens of minutes. Like, it's okay. You just want to start off, you want to get somewhere. You want to understand the intuition, you understand pieces and all of these things. So over time, if you practice just for a few minutes every day for a week, you'd probably see yourself dropping down to the 2 to 4 minute range. And over a month, you could even drop down to under a minute. Now, I haven't even mentioned the more advanced method in speedcubing, which is used by a majority of speedcubing solvers out there. And this method is CFOP. CFOP stands for Cross, F2L, OLL, and PLL. This was invented by Jessica Friedrich. And the way the method works is, instead of going layer by layer, one layer at a time, you solve the cross and then you do F2L, which is the first two layers, simultaneously. Obviously, this saves a lot of time. You have a lot of scope for look ahead. You have better transitions into last layer, etc. Again, don't get too psyched out by all these terms. There are tutorials available, and I'm just giving you an overview of what you will be going through in your journey. And the point is, it's going to be fun and engaging throughout. In fact, there are so many benefits of speedcubing just apart from being good at a thing. This will improve your hand-eye coordination, your motor skills, your spatial awareness, your reasoning capabilities. You might find pattern recognition also going up. Actually, I have for sure, because ever since I started speedcubing, I've been able to see patterns much more easily. Now you might have the question, well, you're only talking about 3x3. What about the other events? And this is where I will tell you. The other events can be learned parallelly, absolutely. But you need to have a strong base of the Rubik's Cube, in my opinion, to build into these other events. Maybe Pyraminx and 2x2 could be exceptions to this rule, but in general, this layer by layer approach, this kind of cross, building up the edges, then building corners, building up layers, orienting, permutation, all of these things are used across all the events, kind of in different ways. My biggest advice to you is start with the Rubik's Cube, learn the Rubik's Cube, then immediately get into simpler events like 2x2 and Pyraminx. You can also get into Scube, you can get into Clock. Clock actually has no algorithms. Clock can be solved completely intuitively. I average about 9 seconds on Clock, but I use the bare minimum no algorithm method. So once you do that, you can get into other niches like big cubes, 4, 5, 6, 7. These cubes are the bigger cubes. And you can get into Megaminx, you can get into Square One, which is a really wonky puzzle. You could get into Scube. You can get into the 3x3 variants, get into the blind variants. There's a lot of scope for learning. And I will say this much, all of it is worth it. But as an all-rounder myself, I've found that being an all-rounder is more rewarding to learn new things. For some reason, it helps me pick up events faster. Like, if I want to get better at an event, I'm already fairly decent at it, so it's kind of motivating to just keep pushing further in that event. Now remember, step out of your comfort zone. You do not want to just stay on the 3x3, especially if you're intrigued about the other events. There is so much more to learn out there, and I promise you, in my personal opinion, 3x3 becomes less and less rewarding, unless it's your main event, of course, not to take away from that from people who main 3x3. What's more rewarding is learning more events and getting good at them. And you might even find one event that you really, really enjoy, and you can just go all in on that event if that's something you want to do. Or you can all round like I do, because I can't be great at any single event because I'm just not good enough perhaps. But okay, there could be many reasons that you enjoy different events, and you should absolutely experiment. But where do you experiment? Now this is where I get into competitions. Competitions are really, really important to attend, and let me tell you why. A huge misconception from beginner cubers is that, oh, I am too slow to go to competitions. I average 8 minutes, I average 4 minutes. I don't average. Okay, if you don't average, come on, get an average, it's fine. But no. Competitions are very important for more than just your results. You are essentially becoming part of a bigger community, and you will be volunteering, you will be helping out, you will be learning how things happen at WCA official competitions. So the way you can find a competition happening near you is you can go to the World Cube Association website, and then you can filter by, you can go to competitions, that's the second tab, and go to all, and you can filter by region. So let's say you stay in the United States. You could go United States. Give it a second, it'll load up all the upcoming competitions and the ones in progress, and you can see the US has over 50 comps coming up. I mean, that's standard US news, nothing crazy here. But yeah, similarly, if I wanted to check in India, I could just search up India, and I can see India has 7 competitions coming up. So please attend competitions. Go to them. Hopefully come to a competition in Bangalore or Hyderabad. You might find me there. I encourage you to go and just solve. Do your best, of course. Try and get faster and faster. Competitions help you with motivation as well. But these are the places where you can try out the different events. So think about, you're starting a 3x3, you want to try Mega Minx. Go to a competition, 99% chance someone has a Mega Minx. 95% chance someone is great at the Mega Minx and will offer to coach you or even help you, just in general. But yeah, based on what you like, you will find your niche. And the only way to find out what you like is to experiment. So before I branch out into what timelines you should be looking at, let me just say, do not get confused by all the hardware options available out there. Regardless of hardware, you can do well. Just make sure that once you try out different puzzles, you understand what you like more. A great example of this is UV coated cubes versus non-UV coated cubes. And you will find that you will like one or the other. So then you have core magnets, you have different tensioning tools, different tensioning mechanisms, you have magnet strengths, you have adjustable magnet strengths in some cubes. You have a lot. Like, there's just so much out there. I promise. Do not get overwhelmed by it. Just give it a shot, try it out, see what you like. So now to tackle the age-old question. How long does improvement take? Well, I will be honest with you. Speedcubing is a game of patience, especially if you want to approach many events simultaneously. You cannot rush things. In fact, the only way to rush things is to practice more, and that actually might work, but that's not rushing things, you're actually just putting in more effort. Don't try to seek out shortcuts, understand intuition, ask questions. There are forums. In fact, you can go to the forum, you can ask any kinds of questions about, competitions near you. You could ask, if based on the events that I just showed you, the 17 events, you can ask questions about anything. There's also speed solving forums, which is this other website. There are so many tools available to you. You can get on Discord, find speedcubing communities. So yeah, the options are pretty much limitless. And when it comes to improvement, remember that you're not trying to just put in 8 hours a day just cubing. You're trying to put in quality time cubing. So try and balance your time between practice and learning. That's the only way you'll get faster, if that makes sense. And go check out my video on the learning curve. This is basically the life hack to learn anything. But yeah, you should just check this out to try and understand how the learning curve works for most things. I kid you not, if you put in the right amount of effort and learn the right way and apply yourself the right way, you can genuinely be sub 15, which is solve the Rubik's Cube under 15 seconds. In a few months, I would say, maybe like 6 months, because all it really takes is building that intuition, getting the muscle memory, understanding the algorithms, building look ahead, and lastly, building efficiency. Naturally, your turning speed will improve. Your turning speed is bound to increase just because you're getting more acquainted with it. Think of it as brushing, right? You do it every single day without fail. I hope so. And you basically over time lose track of time when you're doing it, right? You're just doing it. You could do other things while you're doing it too. It becomes that mundane to you. That's kind of what cubing will become like, but you don't want to stagnate at some point. And I feel like that's one of the mistakes I made in my personal career cubing. During like the pandemic, I kind of stagnated. I kind of held back on learning, and that was completely my decision. Of course, I kind of took a little bit of a break then, but yeah. Keep learning, keep trying to push yourself more and more, and you will just get better so much faster, I promise. So yeah, I truly hope that I've approached basically all the questions you might have. To summarize, start with the 3x3, go to competitions, try and find out what other puzzles you like. In fact, go buy other puzzles too. You can buy the 2x2, buy the pyramids. These are all like pretty standard cubes. Get into one-handed solving, try to learn how to solve it blindfolded. There is so much to do out there. And this is just the small set of events that I've talked about. You have big cubes, 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7. You can get even higher, by the way. You can go all the way up to, I think, 21x21. I'm not too sure. But 8, 9, 10 for sure. You can get all these puzzles if you'd like. You can get all the side event puzzles, just Mega Minx, Clocks, Cubes, Square One, and I mentioned Pyramix already. You have those. You can learn fewest moves. Like, there is so much scope for learning. And if you want to learn any of these, if you want tutorials on any of them, drop a comment down below. I have a fairly decent ranking across most of the events just because, like I said, I tried to be an all-rounder. Feel free to drop any questions in the comments below. I would be more than happy to help. And then don't be overwhelmed by hardware. You'll have so many options out there. You just want to find out what you like. Pretty much anything will work for you as a beginner, I'm not going to lie, because it's more about getting the intuition when you're starting out. And remember, speedcubing is not just about the Rubik's Cube. And over time, you'll realize it's not even just about the community. It's about you. Speedcubing helps you be a better person because you will learn so many things through it, and you will become just a great addition to the people around you. Because, well, apart from the fact that you can flex, which I'm not condoning, I'm not saying anything about, but you can genuinely help people that want to learn. You can bring it down to a level that's digestible for everyone. Just like there are things you would not be good at. Like I, for one, am really bad at biology. When someone explains biology to me in simple terms, it gives me genuine happiness. Although I do make a lot of jokes that biology is pretty, that's besides the point. It's genuinely nice to learn that way. So you could be that person for someone that's interested. And at the end of the day, that's the whole point. As a human, you want to be that addition to society. So speedcubing is about learning. It's about meeting new people. It's about getting better at pattern recognition. It's about competing. It's about failing. It's about learning how to get better. It's about so much more than just the plastic puzzle that we call a Rubik's Cube. So yeah, what are you waiting for? Head over to Cubelelo, get your first Speedcube. And yeah, drop your comments with any questions. I'll be happy to help you on your journey. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you at a competition someday. All the best, and you got this. Stay locked in and keep us updated with your progress. Anyone who's watching this video who is an experienced cuber, please leave your comments motivating people. I want more people to be in this community. I want more reach and I want more inclusivity. I want people from all walks of life to be into speedcubing. So yeah, that's the goal at the end of the day. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully this was helpful. Take care and peace.